Riddles. Puzzles of language. They are ancient, yet timeless. They tease and challenge us. We've all encountered them at some point in our lives, whether in childhood games or in the pages of a book. From ancient mythology to modern games, riddles have captivated minds for centuries. They transcend cultures and eras, connecting us through the shared experience of curiosity and discovery. They offer a unique blend of entertainment and intellectual stimulation. The joy of a riddle lies not just in the solution, but in the journey of thought it provokes. A riddle can be a simple question with a clever twist, or it can present a seemingly impossible scenario that demands creative thought. It pushes the boundaries of our thinking. Riddles force us to think differently. They challenge our conventional ways of understanding and interpreting the world around us. They make us look beyond the obvious. They encourage us to dig deeper, to question our initial assumptions, and to explore alternative perspectives. We have to examine assumptions. This process of questioning and reevaluating is at the heart of critical thinking. This process of mental gymnastics, of untangling words and concepts, can be both frustrating and exhilarating. The struggle is part of the allure. The satisfaction of solving a particularly difficult riddle is a reward in itself. It brings a sense of accomplishment and joy. It's a testament to our ability to think critically and creatively. It showcases the power of the human mind to overcome challenges. Throughout history, riddles have served many purposes. They have been used in rituals, as educational tools, and as a means of social interaction. Sometimes they were tests of wit. They were a way to showcase intelligence and quick thinking. Other times they were ways to convey hidden messages. Riddles could be used to communicate secrets or to pass on wisdom in a veiled manner. Think of the Sphinx's riddle in Greek mythology. This famous riddle has intrigued and challenged minds for generations. This mythical creature guarded the city of Thebes. It posed a deadly riddle to all who passed. Only those who could solve it were allowed to continue on their journey. This highlighted how riddles were woven into the fabric of storytelling and belief. They were more than just puzzles. They were integral to the narratives and cultures of ancient civilizations. Riddles continue to intrigue us. They are a timeless form of intellectual engagement that transcends generations. They are reminders of the power of language. They show us how words can be used to challenge, to teach, and to entertain. They show us that there's always more than meets the eye. They encourage us to look deeper, to find meaning beyond the surface. In a world of instant answers, riddles remind us to slow down, to think, and to embrace the joy of problem solving. They teach us patience and perseverance, and they remind us of the beauty of the journey, not just the destination. Consider this riddle, passed down through generations. What has an eye but cannot see? This simple question seems straightforward at first, but it holds a deeper layer of complexity. It's a classic example of a riddle that plays on words and their multiple meanings. We are drawn to its simplicity, yet we grapple with its hidden depths. The riddle's longevity speaks to its enduring power to baffle. It has likely sparked countless debates and discussions. Imagine families gathered around fireplaces or friends challenging each other over a game. This riddle, with its deceptive simplicity, has likely been a source of amusement and frustration in equal measure. Its persistence in our collective consciousness is a testament to the enduring appeal of riddles. We are drawn to the challenge, to the opportunity to test our wits against the unknown. This particular riddle, with its focus on perception and the nature of seeing, also hints at a deeper philosophical element. It prompts us to question our assumptions about the world around us. The initial response to this riddle is often literal. People tend to approach it with a straightforward mindset, trying to find a direct answer that fits the question perfectly. They might think of living creatures with damaged eyes or objects that resemble eyes. This is a natural first step, as our brains are wired to make quick associations based on familiar concepts. For instance, they might suggest a blind animal, thinking that the absence of sight is the key to solving the riddle. Others might consider a statue with an eye, focusing on the idea of an eye that cannot see because it is part of an inanimate object. Or they might think of a painted eye on a surface which, while it looks like an eye, lacks the function of seeing. These answers, while logical and creative, miss the mark. They are based on a literal interpretation of the riddle's wording. The key to solving such riddles often lies in thinking beyond the obvious. They focus on the physical act of seeing rather than the broader concept that the riddle implies. This is a common pitfall when trying to solve riddles. We tend to overthink and complicate our thought process, searching for complex solutions when the answer is often much simpler than we expect. The human mind is wired to seek patterns and make connections. This can be both a blessing and a curse when it comes to solving riddles. Our brains are constantly working to find links between different pieces of information, which can sometimes lead us astray. This struggle to make connections can be frustrating, especially when the riddle is designed to mislead us. The riddle deliberately misdirects us, using the word "I" to evoke a specific image in our minds. It plays on our natural inclination to think in terms of biological sight, leading us down a path that seems logical but ultimately is a dead end. We are led to think in terms of biological sight, considering eyes in the most literal sense. However, this literal interpretation blinds us to the riddle's true meaning. The brilliance of the riddle lies in its ability to exploit our assumptions and challenge our thinking. When we finally realize the misdirection, it often comes as a moment of clarity, a sudden understanding that the answer was simpler than we thought. The riddle highlights the limitations of purely literal thinking, encouraging us to look beyond the obvious and consider alternative perspectives. In the end, solving the riddle is not just about finding the right answer, but also about the journey of challenging our own thought processes and learning to think more creatively. Section 4. Unveiling the solution. A moment of clarity or continued confusion. The answer to the riddle is a needle. More specifically, the eye of a needle refers to the small hole at one end where thread is passed through. This solution often elicits a range of reactions, from a satisfying "aha" to a bewildered "that's it?" The simplicity of the answer can be as perplexing as the riddle itself. We may feel a sense of relief at having solved the puzzle, but also a lingering confusion. How could something so obvious have escaped us? The riddle's effectiveness lies in its ability to create a mental block. It focuses our attention on a specific aspect of the problem, the act of seeing. This prevents us from considering alternative interpretations of the word "I." Once the solution is revealed, the mental block dissolves, and the answer seems self-evident. Section 5. The paradox of understanding. Why some riddles remain enigmatic. Even after the answer is revealed, this riddle can still be perplexing. This is because it challenges our understanding of language and perception. We are left pondering the nature of seeing. We begin to question if it is limited to biological eyes. The riddle highlights the difference between knowledge and understanding. We may know the answer, but the riddle's deeper implications can continue to puzzle us. This lingering sense of mystery is part of what makes riddles so fascinating. They are not simply puzzles to be solved and forgotten. They are invitations to think differently, to question our assumptions, and to appreciate the ambiguity of language. This paradox of understanding is not limited to riddles. It is something we encounter in various aspects of life. We may be able to recite facts and figures, but true understanding requires more than just memorization. It demands critical thinking, analysis, and the ability to see things from different perspectives. Section 6. The limits of logic, embracing the absurd and the intuitive. The riddle of the needle and the eye also illustrates the limitations of pure logic. When we first hear the riddle, our minds immediately jump to the most common interpretation of the word "I," which is the biological eye. This is a natural response, as our brains are conditioned to rely on familiar patterns and associations. Sometimes, solving a problem requires a more intuitive approach, a willingness to embrace the absurd, and to think outside the box. This is especially true in situations where conventional logic falls short. By allowing ourselves to explore unconventional ideas, we open up new pathways to solutions that we might not have considered otherwise. Our brains are wired to seek patterns and make logical connections. This cognitive wiring is incredibly useful in many aspects of life, from solving everyday problems to making sense of complex information. However, it can also create mental barriers that prevent us from seeing alternative solutions. This serves us well in many situations. For example, in a game of cricket, players rely on their understanding of the rules and strategies to make quick decisions on the field. Logical thinking helps them anticipate the opponent's moves and plan their own actions accordingly. But it can also hinder our ability to solve problems that require a more creative approach. In cricket, as in life, there are moments when thinking outside the box can lead to unexpected and successful outcomes. A player who dares to try an unconventional shot or strategy might surprise the opponent and gain an advantage. Riddles, with their often illogical and playful nature, force us to abandon rigid thinking and to embrace a more fluid and imaginative mindset. They challenge us to look beyond the obvious and to consider possibilities that we might otherwise dismiss. This playful engagement with the absurd can be both entertaining and enlightening. In the case of the needle, a purely logical approach might lead us down a path of considering only things that have biological eyes. This narrow focus can prevent us from seeing the broader picture and from finding the true solution to the riddle. It's only when we allow ourselves to think more abstractly, to disconnect the word "I" from its usual meaning, that we can arrive at the solution. By expanding our thinking and embracing the absurd, we can unlock new insights and creative solutions. This process of breaking free from conventional thinking is essential for solving not only riddles, but also many of life's challenges. Whether we're facing a difficult problem at work, navigating a personal dilemma, or simply trying to come up with a new idea, the ability to think creatively and intuitively can make all the difference. Embracing the absurd and the intuitive allows us to see the world in new ways and to discover possibilities that we might never have imagined.